Finding a comfortable upright seated position. I choose Virasana or Hero's Pose as a kindness to my outer hip, the bursa that's there at the thigh to hip connection. But it's also about supporting the lumbar and sacral spine, that stacking in this way with a neutral extension through the legs allows me a much more stable foundation and less extreme edges of my rotation in the sustained place. So finding your ideal seat might not be your first inclination. You might find a habit that seems good enough, that seems good enough. But once you start to increase the amount of time that you spend in that seat, it might start to tickle the edge of what's enough. So the practice is about exploring those edges and being willing to let go of what we think we know, let go of what it should look like, and embrace what's kindest, what's compassion or ahimsa in practice. So let's welcome the breath as we relax the shoulders, the jaw, the tongue. Welcome the breath deep into the lungs so that the belly kind of puffs open and retracts back. Good. Bringing a little more dexterity into the breath and a little more detail for the mind to pay attention to follow, bringing our body and our mind into alignment with the movement of energy, with breath. So this is the Durga breath, and I like to fill up the belly, then expand the ribs, and then allow the chest to inflate. Now in reverse, the chest, the ribs, and the belly. You don't necessarily have to have all three of those components distinct and separate, but you might. And that's part of the practice. About 10 rounds. Belly, ribs, chest. Deflate chest, ribs, belly. Well done. So with that progression through the three components of expanding the breath, it's a little more anatomical, a little more body centric. So now we're going to flip over to a little more of a visualization, a mental energy of watching the breath expand, not just inside the body, but perhaps you can associate that physical expansion with also the emotional and the intellectual and the energetic expansion beyond the outer shell of our body, beyond the skin itself. So it's kind of a opening like a balloon and attraction back in, this spanda pulsation. Now again, this does not have to be with or without that Durga breath. Not necessary. We're just looking to expand in all directions, back, side, and front, and then retract. And as we retract, we're going to engage that pelvic floor to pull up as the transverse abdominis, the most interior abdominal muscles, contracts in, right? So inhale, visualize the expansion. And draw in the contraction. Now, yes, there's an anatomical component here, but even if your muscles don't yet know what they're doing, it's okay. Visualize the opening and the retracting. Well done. Release that pranayama. So with the Durga, we kind of conditioned our dexterity, and with that prana expanda breath, we've tested the efforts or the expansion, the volume of our breath. So now we're going to shift gears and test the pacing or the rhythm of the breath. So it starts with just an inhale and an exhale, noticing how long the inhale and the exhale take. Take about 3 to 5 to figure that out for yourself. There's not a right way. Just notice how long, keeping the tempo consistent, your inhale takes and then your exhale. Good. All right, so now whichever number was lower, we're going to use that as the base for our box breath. So the box breath is called box breath because there's 4 legs, 4 sides of this circular breath. The inhalation, we're going to pause with the fullness in our body. The exhalation, and then we're going to stay empty to finish out that box. So the inhalation takes your count. You're shorter of the two if they were different. Then the hold is the same count. The exhale, again, the same count. And then finally, the hold, empty, the same count. If at any point panic starts to climb, release this pranayama, take a few cleansing breaths, and begin again. About 10 rounds, and then we're going to tweak it just a little bit. Release that pranayama and take a few cleansing breaths. So the tweak of this box breath is to start again the same inhalation. Let's say, for example, it's a count of 4. Then with each leg of that box breath, we're going to layer on another count. So it's a 4 count, 5 count, 6 count, 7 count. Begin again, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then build 5, 6, 7, 8. Repeat, or 6, 7, 8, 9. And again, we'll look for about 10 breaths in this pattern of lengthening the exhale. Now, a little cheat. I got 10 fingers, 10 breaths. I literally can tap through. The challenge is sometimes when your brain is focusing on the breath, you might lose track of the finger counting. No big deal. Begin again or just pick up where you were, okay? Don't get too attached to any of the support structures in order to support the practice. Just be with the practice and use the support structures as they are available to you, okay? All right, so we're gonna begin again with the shortest count of your breath. Inhale, add 1, add 1, add 1, and then again, growing as it feels comfortable. So I'm going to walk you through the first one. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Begin again. Inhale. Release the pranayama for a few cleansing breaths. Notice if the breath moves more smoothly, more easily, maybe greater volume. What is it that you notice about the effects in your mind, in your body, and in your relationship with energy, with prana? Our last pranayama, our last breath control will be our nadi shodhana, alternate nostril breathing. And then after about 2 or 3 minutes, I invite you to add that pause just like we did in the box breath. So for reminders, you're going to close the right side of your nose gently. Don't squish, don't press. We're just going to interrupt that flow so we can direct the energy through the left side. Then we're going to change the pressure and breathe out the right side. Breathe back in the right side, switch the fingers, and exhale out the left side. So alternate nostril breathing, shifting the flow of energy in and out through our nasal passages. This is said to stimulate independently the two sides of the brain, which of course function over the opposite side of the body. So using energy to connect the mind with the body. Let's begin. Elongate the pause between the inhale and the outhale, the exhale and the inhale. This becomes Anuloma Viloma. Three more rounds. As you release the Anuloma Viloma or Nadi Shodhana alternate nostril breathing, welcome the fullness of what's available in your breath to expand belly, ribs, chest. Notice how the air stimulates through the nostrils, tickling perhaps the back of the throat, stretching across the shoulder blades, the pectorals, the belly, the ribs. Giving your mind new sensations to process, to digest, to feel and experience. Thank you for joining me for Just Breathe. Take care of you. Breathe deeply. Move freely. Labor lovingly. And live vibrantly. Namaste.